Well, I'll be honest, I was not really expecting to make this video today, but as we can see, the MLBPA's executive director, Tony Clark, has resigned after an internal investigation revealed he had an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law, who was hired by the union in 2023. I mean, if that's just not a crazy title, I don't know what is. And this is obviously important because it has implications for the CBA, which expires December 1st in 2026. Hopefully they can figure out who the next person is going to be so they can start those conversations, which should be happening in March and April. But yeah, just kind of a crazy headline that kind of came out of nowhere today in the whole news cycle. And we're going to go over the article because it explains a lot more in depth about the whole situation. All right, so let's move over to the article here. Obviously, it says Tony Clark resigns as the MLBPA executive director. But basically, there was an internal investigation done that revealed he had an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law, who had been hired by the union in 2023. So it obviously took, 3 years, so it took a decent amount of time. And this resignation comes in the wake of the Eastern District of New York's ongoing investigation into the financing and other dealings of MLBPA. So this is obviously what's going on. He obviously resigned, which, is not a good look for him. I'm not really here to talk about the court side of this whole situation and what you think on Tony Clark for this. We're here to talk about what's going to happen with this CBA at the end of the 2026 season. Player leaders are supposed to meet at 4:30 on Tuesday, which is obviously today, which is happening right when I'm recording this video. So we'll kind of see who they pick for the next executive director of the MLBPA. So yeah, a lot of news on that, obviously, about the CBA's expiration on December 1st. They were actually supposed to meet today. If we scroll down here, it says the union, which was scheduled to start its spring training tour of all 30 clubs Tuesday, abruptly canceled its 8 a.m. Eastern meeting with the Cleveland Guardians in Goodwin, Arizona. We can obviously see, stuff's getting canceled. They obviously got to figure this stuff out. They obviously probably are going to start talking as soon as the season starts about the CBA. So I guess it's kind of good that this is happening now instead of later in the year, because it would have made it a lot worse. But we obviously have some player reactions during this whole situation. Marcus Semien said this is obviously happening during the investigation, so it's not surprising. I kind of agree with that as well. And then James Tolan, who's a former rep, also said that no one saw this coming. He was surprised about it. And I think a lot of people can agree that a lot of people, I think, were surprised about this. So yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of good and bad that come from this. Obviously, the bad situation is they kind of have to scramble now to kind of pick a new executive director on who they want to lead the organization and obviously lead the players. And a lot of the players are going to have say, I'd imagine, in who that person's going to be. That's kind of the cons for them right now. The pros is, at least for the new CBA, it's going to be new people in that room, right, than we had in 2022. And obviously, it was a success in 2022 when they got that whole situation done. But it's going to be new faces, new people to talk about. So I think that's the positive that we can see. And I guess it is better it's happening now than later. But yeah, this obviously going to have a lot of implications on those whole discussions. Like I said, they should start around March and April talking about the new CBA terms. I mean, there's so many things in those terms to go over that they obviously went over in 2022. I mean, with the current expansion projects going on, you could talk about the TV deals going on. Obviously, the salary cap and salary floor is going to be the main discussion. But there's going to be all these side talks, if they want another team in the postseason. So all those talks are going to be going on. I think the main issue, obviously, salary cap and salary floor. Another big issue is going to be the TV deal. So that is the main one I think they're going to obviously talk about. I think the second biggest point that they could talk about. A lot of teams have lost their TV deals going into 2026. So that's obviously going to be a massive talking point. But there's just so much to talk about when it comes to these discussions that they're going to have to figure out. Pretty detailed article from Jeff Passan and Don Vianata. If you guys want to read this, I'll link it down below in the description. But pretty crazy scenes we're seeing. What's your guys' thoughts about this whole situation? Are you guys happy that he's gone? Are you kind of worried about, the whole lockout situation? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Yeah, inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law was definitely not something I was aiming to see today, which is kind of crazy. And then they were hired by the union, so that's obviously, not a good look. But definitely let me know your guys' thoughts about this in the comment section down below. And with that being said, make sure you guys follow me on all my socials. You can follow me on X for all of our updates. You can follow me on Instagram for all of our clips. If you guys want to talk more and get some more info, definitely make sure you guys join the Discord. And then check out the merch. We've been updating the site like crazy, and I definitely recommend you guys go check it out. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.